All right, guys, you officially made it to the next part of the story. Clearly you're interested, so let's keep going.
My killers will not take no for that.
So when I first moved into Bob's house, he was like, hey, we should drink some daiquiris. And I'm thinking, I don't drink. I'm on medication that I really shouldn't drink. But, I'll have a drink or two. Fuck it. And little did I know, these daiquiris were very strong and very red. And for anyone who knows me, I'm also kind of low-key allergic to red dye. I fought through it. I drank. I was like, fuck it. Like, not gonna be a party pooper. I'm gonna do this. And what do you know, by the time we get to the Abbey in West Hollywood, I'm having fun for a good 30 minutes, maybe more, and then I'm throwing up in the bathroom, on the floor, throwing up into the toilet to the point where, they're closed. So I'm even throwing up outside, I'm throwing up in the street, like I'm throwing up everywhere. And Bob doesn't really seem to care. So instead of being like, holy shit, we should probably go home, he was like, let's go get food at this Thai place. And I literally just gagged at the thought of it. Like, no. I just remember being really drunk and being like, no, I want to go home. So instead of being helpful, which I guess this was his idea of being helpful, he sends me alone in an Uber home. And we lived very far from West Hollywood, like I said, at least a good 30 plus minute drive. And I'm not very coherent. I'm in this Uber with this guy. When I got back to the house, I walked around the front of the Uber, and I think the Uber thought I was gonna walk around the back, and he's like, oh, I'm getting the fuck out of here, and he took his foot off the brake, and he hit me with his car. Not like hard, but like to knock me over, like, whoa. I just remember falling onto the front of his car and like looking at him, and then he just, skirt, like backed up real quick. And like, it did make sense because I had a huge bruise on my hip for like a minute. So just putting that one out there. So very helpful. That was another red flag, within the first week or two of living with this guy. He sends me home alone in an Uber when I'm clearly like vomit drunk. Like I threw up in the grass at home. So I'm already drunk, disoriented, just moved to this place. And I had no keys to the house, might I add, so once I got there, I had to sit in the backyard, and these chairs I supposedly fucked up. I mean, you don't have to help me get out of my clothes, you're not my mommy, but you didn't even help me take my shoes off. You didn't even help me find my way to my room, pretty much. I fell in my room on my mattress before I even bought my bed, on my back. He let me sleep on my back, knowing I was this fucking drunk, and I woke up throwing up, and I like ended up sitting up, and like it went all over me, thank God. But like I could have died, dude. I could have literally thrown up in my sleep, choked on my own vomit because you didn't put me on my fucking stomach, and I could have fucking died. Literally, I haven't drank since living with him, and I don't think I ever will again. Maybe like a toast or something here and there, but I don't drink, and I don't like to get drunk, for the record. So something that happened during me living there that I never mentioned to him was one day I came home from work, and this was probably about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't find my cat Choco when I was trying to feed them. I was like, Choco, whatever, like calling his name, and like I couldn't find him, and I was freaking out. So I find him in the backyard underneath this tree, and there's like this wooden plank thing, and there's like some dirt and stuff, and he's in a corner like hiding behind this wooden plank thing, like scared. And there's another cat that's like hissing at him and being like, ring, like backing him into a corner. And I was like, oh my God. So I was like, go away, and like yelled at the other cat and scared it off, and like, got Choco, brought him inside. And he did have a scratch on his head, so clearly the other cat like did scratch him or something. And I never said anything to Bob. I kept it to myself. I was like, maybe, he was doing shots on broadcast. He didn't realize he left the door open. Well, what the fuck, but okay, it's an accident. Accidents happen. I'm glad he's not dead. He didn't go in the street. I usually feed my cats in the morning when I wake up, and I like to feed them before I go to bed. So I usually feed them like twice a day. And I woke up one morning and I was feeding my cats in the kitchen, and the cats had pretty much eaten all the food. And then all of a sudden, Bob's dog comes in the kitchen and starts licking the bowls. And at the time, Bob had some of his like Patreon guest over or something, and this chick starts going in on me. Like, not like screaming, but she's like, oh my God, like genuinely distressed. And she's like, he cannot have cat food. He just cannot. Like, genuinely distressed about this. And I was like, it's okay. There's like nothing in the bowl. And she's like, no, he cannot. And might I add, I'm paying rent to live here. I'm paying a lot, unfortunately, to live there. And this chick that I don't know, never fucking met in my life, is giving me a lecture on a dog licking a cat bowl right when I wake up. Before I got in a relationship with Bradley, I did meet up with a friend of mine, and we talked for a long time about how distressed I am, like, living with him. Like, you know, all of this stuff I've mentioned, plus, you know, this whole having to make $1,900 a month. I didn't agree to this. This is stressing me the fuck out. Like, holy shit. I want to get the fuck out. I want to move downtown. Like, these are things that, like, I really wanted to do. And I was, you know, vocalizing to someone before I even moved out with Bradley and before any of that even happened. So fast forward to me being in a relationship with Bradley now. I think it was like on our 1 month anniversary or something. Me and Bradley went to this Chinese place, and I don't know, it didn't go over well. Something wrong happened. And Bradley ended up throwing up in the sink, which I know you're thinking, what the actual fuck? That's horrible. You know, I've puked in a sink before on accident, and Bob has also thrown up in a sink. During his Christmas party, which there are multiple people there who can also witness and contest to this, he threw up in the sink, his kitchen sink. He threw up all over his room and his floor and all this shit. And he's talking about how fucking nasty my boyfriend is and how fucking gross it is. And here's her bathroom, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, first of all, that's not okay. Like, we weren't partying, we weren't fucked up. Like, he genuinely got really sick and woke up from being asleep, and then that happened. So I don't know what the fuck he was thinking, putting that on Twitter, thinking like, oh, I'm gonna make people think she's nasty. I'm gonna make them think her boyfriend's nasty. Bradley, he's not like in the YouTube community. He's not in the YouNow community. He's just this guy who found me, which is fucking great, because without Bradley, it would have made this whole situation horrible. So he has no connection to any of this except for me. So why is he getting dragged on Twitter? Why is something that he had, like, that day, the day he like threw up in the sink, was really stressful. Like, we were in the car, we were like drinking ginger ale, like we didn't want to be in the house, you know. We had to go to his grandma's house and get like this old vacuum that she like doesn't use and like suck it up out of the sink and shit. And the whole time he's just dragging us and dragging us on Twitter like it's a fucking joke, when like it's not. Like, it was not fucking cool whatsoever. Bob, I think, went on a trip to Vegas when I was dating Bradley. Yeah, I think that's what happened. I think Bob went to Vegas, so it's just me and Bradley there for a couple days. I guess when Bob came back from Vegas, he decided that his outdoor chairs were absolutely destroyed, which reference to another part of this video where I say he claimed another girl and her friends destroyed the chairs. So if they destroyed the chairs, how the fuck did I destroy the chairs as well? It's called, you put the chairs outside. When you put your fucking chairs outdoors and leave them there for years, they're gonna get fucking weathered. Especially their wicker chairs. It's not like it's a fucking metal chair. You know what I mean? They're wicker chairs. Wicker falls apart, especially in California. When it gets cold, certain things that are wood, like, contract, and when it gets warm, they expand. That's why you don't leave a violin or a guitar or something in the heat, because it fucks it up. You don't leave a fucking wooden wicker chair outside, and then when the weather fucks it up, blame everyone else. All I did was ever sit in those chairs completely normal. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, me ruining the chairs. He like got another like Snapchat or something of the chairs, and then like zoomed in on like me and my boyfriend's bong that was sitting out there, like fucked up chairs. I don't know what happened, and there's the bongs. It's like, no, we didn't do that shit. Clearly there's a cycle here. Your shit gets ruined, you blame other people for it. But when you ruin other people's shit, you don't want to take any blame for it. If anything gets ruined on your behalf, it's always somebody else's fucking fault, right? So let's go back for a little second and talk about these Christmas decorations I was referring to. So the Christmas decorations, like I said, were running. They were huge inflatables. It was on Twitter and the news that there was a bunch of forest fires in California, like Latuna Canyon, like over by like Mulholland, and it got really, really windy. Like the wind was insane. And during this time, he was in New York. He goes on a lot of trips. You know, clearly he can't afford the house. He needs to charge me money, but he has all this money for these vacations, cruises, whatever. My parents were visiting me at the time for a couple days because it was around the holidays. And all this wind and stuff came through. My parents can contest to this. We woke up the next day and the inflatables were blown across the yard. Might I add, my car is in the driveway. The inflatables have a motor on them and stuff. Hello? You're on Twitter ranting and raving about how, you know, oh my God, your pool floaties and inflatables are ruined. My fucking car was in the driveway, dude. What the fuck? Your car's in the driveway. Why aren't you a little bit more concerned about something that isn't the Christmas inflatables? And like some stupid floaty got popped, like, oh my God, my floaty. It's like, even if you were there, you didn't know that there's gonna be fucking fires. You don't know that the wind is gonna kick up at night and blow it up against a wall or something. At least they were all in the backyard. At least your inflatables were still in the fucking front yard. And once again, might I add, this is not my fucking problem. If I lived on my own, there wouldn't be fucking Santa inflatables. There wouldn't be floaties floating across the fucking yard that I have to worry about while you're on fucking vacation. Lock them up in the fucking garage like you locked up your fucking bedroom. Seriously. Oh, and then the power surged and all of his lights came on in his room one time because of the storms and the fires. And because his doors were locked because he didn't want me anywhere near his room, thinking I was gonna fuck up his shit, which is not in my personality. I don't fuck with people's shit ever. And his lights sat in his room like all going for like a week straight. And you're gonna say that I have to pay all this fucking money for utilities? No. I tell this guy that I don't want to live with you anymore, and I'm not giving you any more of my money. At this point, I have a boyfriend who's like, you know what, why are you putting up with this? Like, I have someone else who's actually living my life, sleeping in my bed with me, seeing what I'm putting up with. And he's like, dude, do not put up with this. I'm like, for that amount of money, you could live anywhere. Anywhere you want. For $1,900 a month in LA, go live somewhere else. You know, you don't have to put up with this shit. So when I told him that I didn't want to, he immediately goes on broadcast, says I gotta evict my roommates. And he calls me all these names like a stripper and nasty. He said I'm bipolar. And I never once went live or said anything about him or tried to defame his character in any way, shape, or form, which is really fucked up that someone that I looked up to in a weird way to live with and thought that they would help me. You know, I was going through a hard time before I moved in with him, like mentally, and I thought this would pull me out of the depression and like kind of help me. And it was the opposite. You were using me for money. You were talking shit about me. And then as soon as I said I'm not going to give you money anymore, it showed who you really were. You instantly turned and said everything live in front of other people, what you were always thinking about me. In the midst of him ranting and raving about me almost every day on Twitter and in his broadcast, I'm staying at Bradley's grandma's house because it's just uncomfortable to be there. It's cold, it's miserable, I don't want to fucking be there. You're an asshole, you're ranting and raving about me. You're making my life a living fucking hell and making my living situation unlivable, which is kind of against the law. So I would pretty much just be there to feed my cats and get some clothes, get ready for work, and then leave. That was pretty much all I was doing there the last couple weeks I was there. Like, I barely even slept there. We'd try to sleep at Bradley's. Like, we did not want to be there. So I came home one morning to feed my cats, and where do you think this is going to go? Where the fuck is Choco? I couldn't find him. I'm Choco, like looking for him. I'm trying to feed him. I can't find him. So I'm freaking out, and what do you know? He's outside. And might I add, this wasn't like, oh shit, he left him outside while I was at work, like the other time I was telling you guys about. This was, oh shit, I left for work last night around like 8 p.m. and I'm back at like 10 in the morning the next day. My cat's been outside for God knows how long with no food, no water. It was winter time. It was like February. It's fucking freezing in California then pretty much still. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? If I would have left your dog outside for even 20 minutes, you would have flipped a shit. If your dog even eats a little bit of cat food, you and other people that you're friends with can flip a shit. But you can accidentally leave my cat outside one time and then accidentally somehow, well, especially when you're mad at me, my cat's been outside for 12 plus hours.
Yeah. I mean, if she lets her cats outside, then obviously they're going to try to go outside. So she shouldn't have never let the cats outside in the first place.
Yeah, and you're a vegan. I love how you're always preaching about veganism on your fucking Twitter and shit, but you treat animals like shit. You literally could have gotten my cat killed on 2 separate situations. You were unapologetic about it, and you did not give a fucking shit, which shows you actually do not give a flying fuck about animals. And you've even tweeted how much you hate fucking cats. That's really fucking pathetic. I just want to add that Bob decided that we were going to use the spare room as an Airbnb so he could try to make some money, which definitely was not part of the lease agreement. You can't Airbnb out the room. So he was trying to do it for $100 a night, but Airbnb was saying that his house was only worth $40. So when the Airbnb thing wasn't working, he sent me a text along the lines of, Airbnb is not working. They're saying I have to do it for $40 a night, and you didn't even give me $600 this month. So within like a week or two into February, he already has some guy from North Carolina moving in, which I don't even know his fucking name, so I can't even censor his name because I don't even know who the fuck he is. He's just some big buff weirdo, and I literally never even saw him with clothes on, which makes this shit even weirder. He always had fucking boxers on, which is like, what the fuck? So in the midst of all of this new guy moving in, they parked their cars in the driveway and made it so I couldn't park in the driveway. So I had to park in the street. I had to street park for like 2 or 3 weeks. Yep, I mean, I guess we lived in a residential neighborhood, but I was paying you rent money for 6 months. So now I have to have my car on the street? Okay, he cut me off from the Wi-Fi. A lot of people were asking me why wasn't live, why aren't you live, blah, blah, blah. I didn't go live for like weeks. Why? I had no Wi-Fi. He changed the password and cut me off. So unless I'm gonna use my data, hang out at a Starbucks, hang out at Bradley's grandma's house and go in on this fucking YouTuber, which is what he was doing to me. So in the midst of all of this, he put multiple 3-day notices on my door and like, you need to get the fuck out notices. Now we're all printed off Google. I actually brought them to a police station and showed them, and they're like, this is printed off Google and fake. He also does not even know my name, which is Allie. He called me Alex the whole time I lived there, and he misspelled my last name. So even if these were legal documents that you legally got from the courthouse, you misspelt my name. So, okay, like, if you can't even spell my last name right, it shows how much you really cared about me and how much you really know about me. Even when you're trying to throw me out, you don't even know how to properly spell my fucking last name. So yeah, I had to take time out of my life to go down to a police station and ask them about your weird fake 3-day notice and tell them the situation just to kind of get it in the books and let them know. I called the cops on one situation because the power went out in my room, and I assumed he shut the power off in my room if he shut off the Wi-Fi and took the shower curtain, all this weird shit out of the bathroom. Like, I just would assume he'd shut off the power too, but I was like, no, maybe it's an accident, and I told the cops not to come. I was like, you know, it might be an accident, yada yada. So also during this drama, I was noticing I wasn't getting any mail. I was checking the mailbox, there's no mail, I'm not getting any mail. And at this point, I'm expecting tax documents, I'm expecting a credit card, and I'm expecting checks for my job, and all of which I'm not getting. So I call him out on it, which I will insert the proof now.
I don't touch your mail.
I haven't gotten a single thing in the mailbox.
I just gave you got one thing. You can check the mailbox daily. You have a mail key.
Mailbox is empty.
Yeah, it's been empty.
I've been checking it. There's no mail that has come here for you.
So one piece of mail
So
for the
one
last...
piece of mail for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah. I swear I haven't anything. I wouldn't steal your mail.
I know you don't
Federal
want the
law.
mail. Yeah, it is a federal offense to steal people's mail and hide it
Exactly.
from them, even though
I'm not
you're fucking
hiding
mad
anything.
at them.
I'm not hiding anything. You don't have any mail. Are you expecting mail? There's no mail here.
I am expecting mail and I haven't gotten any of it.
Okay, well then.
And I
maybe you
also
should
would like
contact
to
the
know the
people.
landlord's phone number, the actual landlord's phone number,
Okay.
so I can talk to her about this. And ask her why you've been charging me $1,900 for the past couple
I did
months.
not charge you.
Yes, you have been. Don't
I
try to
did
cover
not.
it up
I
because you're
charged-
in front of another roommate
I
right now.
charged you $1,300.
No, you haven't. Then let's check the Venmo transaction.
Because you screwed the guy who was in our other room.
That doesn't matter
Okay.
who I fucked. Doesn't matter who I
Dude,
fucked,
just give her the landlord's number
Give me
right
the
now.
landlord's number, dude.
She has a right to the landlord's number. You're not the actual landlord.
It's on the lease.
That you deleted off my laptop,
And
dude.
you have to send her the lease agreement
Then you
again.
need to resend it to me because it was on my laptop and now it's gone. And I need the landlord's number.
Right now.
No.
Yes.
If you don't give it to
If you
her,
don't
you
give
can
us
get
the
in
number,
trouble
we're gonna tell the
legally.
cops.
Okay, you get me in trouble.
So you're saying right now that you will not give us the landlord's number?
Yes.
And that you gave me a notice to vacate without actually asking the landlord and letting me ask the
I'm
landlord.
the first person on the lease. If you check,
The lease doesn't make you the landlord, so you know.
it makes you the first person, and technically you can evict your roommate. Go check. Why don't you research?
Listen, you have to give her the landlord's
You have to
number.
give me the landlord's number. I've already talked to the police about this and they said you have to give me the landlord's number. I'm not gonna fucking have this anymore.
Okay, then.
I took your paperwork
Okay,
down to
but-
the landlord's number so I can figure out what the hell is actually going on.
He's not going to give it to us. He's just going to have to face the legal consequences. No more time.
Clearly because the landlord has no idea he is here, he has no idea my cats are here, and all this is bullshit.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You know exactly what
I'm
we're
talking about. Don't try to play this fucking game. I'm not just mad over nothing, and I hope this guy knows that you're gonna fuck him over. That's why 3 different people have moved out of here, dude.
3 different people.
So I called him out on it. I was like, I need to talk to the landlord. You're being ridiculous. Like, all this crazy shit you keep doing to me. This is not legal. The landlord is not going to approve of you giving me all these fake 3-day notices and shit. Like, all this stuff that you're claiming, like, you know, is part of the lease agreement. Like, I guess if I fuck someone in the house, I have to pay $2,000. I don't know where I saw that. And then the fine print, I don't fucking know. But, yeah, evidently part of the lease agreement is, oh, hey, if you overpay me, I'm going to move some guy from North Carolina in. You're not going to be able to park in the driveway. I'm going to treat you like shit and try to run you out every fucking day until you leave, which is also against the law. You can't make someone's living situation so uncomfortable to the point where they have to leave. So once again, he did not let me contact the landlord. He did not let me discuss anything with the landlord, even though I did sign a lease with the landlord. It's not his house. He does not own it. It is not his. Some lady and her husband own the house, and they're renting it to him. So basically all these 3-day notices, and I'm going to kick you out, and I'm going to drag you on Twitter, like this whole thing was none of his business. We are 2 roommates living in a house together. You have no fucking authority to ask me for $1,900 a month. You had no fucking authority to tell me I had to fucking pay all this money for utilities. And you had no fucking authority to treat me like shit and try to run me out, which is against the fucking law. And you had no authority to cut off the Wi-Fi, like the power. If you want to find out what happens in the end, you're gonna have to watch the next part to this video. So make sure you watch all of them if you really want to get a good understanding of everything that completely happened.